All right, here you go. This is Enda here from bullweb.org. This is the weekend video. It's Friday, 12 o'clock. It's time to review what has happened this week, while understanding that there's still a whole day's trading ahead. So keep that in mind. I'm speaking into the future here, by the grace of God. So we'll review the patterns, we'll see what's happened, and I'll give you my thoughts for what may be coming ahead next week. Okay, here's your dollar. This is the pattern I'm working with so far. A large wave one higher, let's say. At the moment, we're still working within that third wave scenario. And if this holds true, then we should see another step higher next week. The action this week has been pretty sideways, and we're looking for some sort of a correction in a fourth wave. It seems we've kind of more or less got that now. I can't say that we have a final low yet, but we did, pip below the previous wave A, so we've got an ABC pattern here, an expanded flat. We just broke the wave A low, and then now we're just hovering above it. So I'm not sure whether wave 4 has completed, but we'll know. I mean, if we spike higher today, that'll probably suggest that wave 5 is underway, and we're pretty close to finishing this third wave now. If we get an Elliott channel on that, we'll see where we stand overall. Probably would allow for a rally back up to about 112. I'm not even expecting that, to be quite honest, because we had such a rapid acceleration within wave 3. That may be where the bulk of the acceleration will happen, and we might just pop higher in wave 5 and then begin to drift sideways again in wave 4. So overall, the next week or so, we'll probably see a new high in wave 5 to complete wave 3, and then a consolidation again in wave 4. So for the moment, still looking for this third wave to complete, and then a drop into wave 4. Okay, so overall, there won't be a whole lot of net expansion in this pattern. Even definitely over the next week, if we do see wave 4, we'll probably fall back towards 108 again. But we'll see how that goes. Okay, so cable, you can see we're moving higher in a wave 1 up, also out of a wave 2 low, so this will be wave 1 of 3. On the hourly count, you can see we're looking at the idea of a top out in wave 3 of 1 this week. So we had, the pattern over the last week has got quite messy, so I'm suggesting a possible wedge to complete wave 5 of 3, and then a drift lower into wave 4 should begin. So overall, looking for if we see this is a best fit channel here. Looking for wave 4 to kind of come back down. Wave 3 has thrown over above the channel. Looking for wave 4 to kind of drop back down into the channel and fill it again. I would imagine probably back towards about 127. That kind of builds off that previous left shoulder here. We'll probably build a right shoulder and then head higher into wave 5 again. Ideally, we'll see how it goes, but for the moment, the last couple of days have seen a dropout of that wedge. If this pattern holds, then that's wave 5 of 3 done, and then we should head down in wave A of 4 early next week, and possibly even today. So we'll see how it goes today. I would suggest that this high at wave 5, all at 130 even, we should see 130 hold and wave A drop back below 129 again anyway. I would suggest even lower, maybe below 128.50. That would break the previous fourth wave lows. That's 128.60. I would expect wave A to drop into there anyway, and we'll see. We'll work from there. So let's see how that. Let's see if the top holds, and let's see if wave A continues lower. Okay, dollar yen. We're still building a low. We do have a low this week. It's held all week, 146.51. as the previous wave C of 2. So we've got 3 waves down in wave 2. Overall, we still have a 5-wave pattern higher into wave 1. So as I said before, until one of these pairs breaks, we have bullish patterns all around, which may be a bit strange, to be quite honest. We have this week, we've got a possible leading wedge in wave 1. We just came up to the internal resistance of the previous decline. That was the wave B high. That's kind of what I was looking for this week. Well, ideally, I was looking for a break of that, to be quite honest, 150.20. We just came up to meet it, and we had a rejection. So I'm fully aware of the fact that this pattern may be broken. But for the moment, I'm giving it a benefit of the doubt. Let's say we may have an inverted head and shoulders building here. An ABC down in wave 2 is also on the cards. So let's see. Today overnight it's played quite well. We have a top out in wave B. That's 3 waves up in wave B and a turn down again into wave C. So let's see if we can break, below that internal low there of wave A. So call that, 148.16. If we can break that, that'll complete wave C and hopefully turn higher into wave 3 then. Overall, looking for 3 waves down, a higher low in wave 2, and then a turn up in wave 3, and we'll see how that holds today. Okay, pattern this week has been reasonably corrective to the upside still. We're looking for wave 2 up to begin this week, and we seem to have that. The last couple of days, we do have a more or less sideways action, to be quite honest. So we've got 5 waves up in wave A, possible expanded flat correction wave B underway still. No major confirmation of that yet, but the most of the upside action this week has been quite overlapping. Excuse me, get a drink. Most of the upside action this week has been more or less overlapping. I've got a frog in my throat here. I'm going to leave that in. I'm not editing it out. It just takes too much time to edit these videos. So I like to just record it and go with the flow. So whatever you could just rest assured that this video is not edited. I'm leaving it in. Maybe I've dropped an octave here, so maybe it'll actually come through better on the microphone. We'll see. Okay, so we've got an A down. We've got a new high in wave B, possibly. And as I was saying, the internal action here just looks quite choppy, to be honest. So I'm suggesting that this is still a B wave top, and we should head lower in wave C of B. We will see. You'd look for another a challenge of that wave B or that wave A low. So let's say 41, break of 41,400 anyway, maybe down towards 41,380. And if we do get that, that'll be ABC done. And then next week we'd look higher in wave C. The 50% retracement overall lies at about 42,850. So, between there and 43,000, I hate even saying that number, but that would hold the downside bias, let's say, of this downward sloping trend line here. So we've got overall a maintained downside bias in the action. We will have 3 waves up. We'll have a lower high in wave 2. We'll have 50% retracement, and then it will be a test. Overall, that will be the major test, let's say, to this pattern, because if wave 3 down doesn't come, then we can pretty much write off what's happened in the last month or so as corrective. I don't want to do that, but there is still that, let's say, on the alternate daily count here, on the alternate count, there's still that possibility. So I have to kind of acknowledge that fact at least. So for next week, for today anyway, I would like to see wave B hold, or let's say wave B complete, and then early next week wave C to turn higher again. So we'll see how it goes. let's move on. And obviously, if you want nightly updates, just head to bullwaves.org and check out the membership. And we'll see you tonight on the members area. And you'll get the updated charts. Okay, let's go to gold. Let's go to daily count. At this moment, we're pretty much closed out on wave 5 of 5 of 3. So this is the updated chart. Previously, I was looking at this as a B wave top. We would head lower into wave C, that would complete wave 4, and then we'd look higher into wave 5. But this has all been pulled forward, I think. I was being generous, I think, with this fourth wave. I was looking for quite an extended kind of fourth wave pattern, but that has all been pulled forward, I think, by the excessive rally that happened in the last month. This does not bode well for gold at all in the slightest. There is no silver lining here in the short term, or sorry, in the maybe even in the longer term. I mean, you're talking about towards at least the rest of this year, as this wave 3 tops out and we turn into wave 4. Wave 4 will take at least the rest of this year to play out. If we get a time on that, we're talking probably into mid 2026 even. If this pattern is correct for wave 3, or sorry, for wave 5 of 3, and I really do think it is correct, to be quite honest. We've got a solid pattern in wave 5 here. So wave 5 in red. Let's go down to the 4-hour count and we'll see that fifth wave pattern on display. You can see the fact that there's the previous fourth wave low. We've got wave 1 and 2. That's an expanded flat correction. Wave 2. We've got this extended rally in wave 3. We've got another expanded flat correction in wave 4. And you might say, well, there's no alteration in there, but the guideline is not a rule. So the idea that we have the same, corrective pattern for wave 2 and wave 4, it's not beyond the bounds of possibility at all. So we've got a fourth wave correction in place, and then from that recent low back in late February, we have a continuation of a 5-wave pattern higher. So let's get into the hourly count, and this would be wave 5 of 5 of 5 of 3. So let's get into the hourly count. You can see the hourly count will allow for a fourth wave correction to come and the fifth wave new high. It's not the time to get bullish on gold, to be quite honest. We are at the end of the final end of the recent rally. And just Google news stories for gold and just look at the glaring positive reviews and how it's everything to everybody for everybody. Whatever you want gold to do, it will do it these days. There is, it's a medical cure, it's an industrial powerhouse, it's an unending inflation hedge, it's the best deflation hedge, it's, an essential part of your portfolio, it's a lovely thing to look at, it's the most beautiful metal, it's this, that, and the other, and everything else on top of that. You won't see anybody suggesting that maybe it's time to sell your gold, sooner rather than later. The very fact, and this will be the, let's say, the star on the top of the Christmas tree, the icing on the cake for the bearish story underlying gold. The very fact that governments are being compelled or compelling themselves to chase down their gold assets. Central banks are trying to, let's say, account for all their gold and to, build up their gold portfolios again. That very single fact alone should mark a top, because nobody is later to the party than the government. So I think we're at the final step. If we do get wave 4 down next week and then step higher into wave 5, this will be the final step higher. We'll complete that larger pattern in wave 5 in red, and then that'll be it. It'll be sayonara. It'll be all downhill from there. Okay, let's move on. And you can call me whatever you like, but I was the one back here suggesting that if you were a long-term buyer, you can go back to my 2021 videos. If you were a long-term buyer, I was suggesting maybe it's time to probably put gold into your portfolio. But now, if you're a long-time buyer, maybe it's time to start looking at other things, maybe cash, preferably. Okay, let's get on. Let's go to weekly. Not advice, just suggesting. Here is crude oil. This is the weekly pattern. I'm looking for a C wave decline overall, and wave C will probably fall back below. You're looking at $20 somewhere down there once this pattern is over. And I think that's, I really think that a commodity of such ubiquitous use, a commodity that has been invested in and built up, an industry that is so built up and so invested in and so mature, should really, we should be talking. It should be like the airline industry. It should be like a race to the bottom. The airline industry is like one of the most high profile industries on planet Earth, and it really is a race to the bottom. It's not a place that you'll ever, you'll make your money, but it's not a place where generational, fortunes will be made. I think most airlines tend to scrape a living, basically. And I really think the oil industry should be like that too. We shouldn't have crude oil rushing up to $150 a barrel, because you basically dig a hole and you pump it out. There's not much more to it. I know it's tough work, but come on, like it's the baseline of commodities. It shouldn't be, a thing where people, a glamour asset that people run to. Anyway, and I think the next decline should do that again. It should bring us back down to well below $50 a barrel anyway. Well below $30 a barrel probably, hopefully, with a bit of luck. Okay, 4-hour count. I'll go to the daily count first, actually. So we're still working on this fifth wave down. It's going to be a long, long process. We've got wave 1 and 2 of that done, and we should head lower into a third wave. And that's kind of what I've been charting for the last while. So this is wave 1 of 3 of 5. So, even if we do get an interim rally here, it'll be a second wave and it'll be a lower high, and we'll continue churning lower in crude oil. So this is the hourly count. Over the last let's call it a month, we've just been drifting sideways. Basically, we haven't made much ground at all. I've been trying to pin down what is the actual pattern here for this fourth wave. And if indeed this is actually a fourth wave, and if we're not actually heading higher into wave 2 already, so that'll be this wave 2 here. I don't think we're heading higher into wave 2 yet, but I still have that niggling suspicion that we have one more step lower into wave 1 to do. So for the moment, I was looking. We had a bounce, let's say, yesterday evening and overnight, and a sell-off this morning. I was looking at that as a possible 1-2 scenario, but it doesn't seem that's likely now. Looking at an ABC pattern, it's a triple, might be a triple combination, but it's a complex flat with an internal running flat. You can see it there. We've got 3 up in A, we've got running flat correction wave B, and then maybe 5 up again in wave C. So if we do challenge to a new high again, I think it'll fill the channel and then head lower into wave 5 next week. But I'm still looking to close out this fourth wave, and we'll see how it kind of falls next week. Okay, I'm going back into gold again, am I? Yep. Nope. Let's go onwards, Timothy. This is the S&P. This is the 4-hour count. Look at the hour count. Let's see. Yeah, sorry, I have updated that and shown wave 3 and possibly wave 4 now underway. So a wave 3 low is in place, and we're turning higher into wave 4, and then we should step lower again into wave 5. Still tracking 5 waves down in wave 1, and this is the short-term count for wave 4, the hourly count. Possible triangle wave B, so we've got wave A, possible triangle wave B, maybe, and then we should pop higher again in wave C. Ideally, that'll be today, and then next week, then we turn lower again into wave 5. We will see how it goes. You could. I mean, there's a very low probability scenario where wave 4 is complete. That'd be at the internal high here. I'm not thinking that's too kosher at the moment, but as long as that kind of sideways grind holds fast, and it has so far, then I think that's a B wave triangle, and we should probably head higher into wave C early next week, or maybe even today. So let's see how that plays out today. It's still fourth wave correction. We'll see. Maybe there's something larger developing. You know, maybe it's a larger triangle in wave 4 in blue. I don't know. So we're still kind of stuck in a corrective limbo at the moment, and we'll see whether we break out of that next week to the downside in wave 5. That would be ideal, the ideal scenario. So this time next week, I'll be talking about the end of wave 5 of 1, so the end of wave 1 down, and then look for a rally in wave 2, I suppose. Silver. We're still holding a lower high, and as long as we are, I can still hold this 1-2 count. We did come close last week, but so far we're still, we're turning down again, and it just depends on the breakout of this internal wave C pattern here, whether wave 1 down is begun yet. I think on the hourly count, I'm still allowing for a possible pop into wave 5 of C. You could still make the argument that wave 1 down is now beginning. If we break that, let's see, the internal high of wave C there, that'll be 32.77. If we break 32.77, that will flip the table here, and we would be counting wave 1 down from there. I kind of even hope for that to happen, to be quite honest, today, and that would allow for us to concentrate on a turn down into wave 1 of 3 next week. Anyway, if you want to follow that, you can head over to the website, head over to bullwaves.org, and you get nightly updates on the membership website, and we'll follow along, and we'll see how this catastrophe develops. I always end every video with the presentation of the good news. The good news is called the gospel. The gospel is just the Greek for good news. It basically goes back to Genesis 3, where humanity failed in its first test. And our father, Adam, the father of, well, not mine anymore, but the world, the father of humanity, Adam sinned. And from there, he tainted our DNA of our race. And we were on a downward trajectory from there. There is a sin problem, a separation from God. God cannot have and will not have fellowship with a fallen race, a fallen man. The problem of sin has to be dealt with. And God told us in Genesis 3:15 how he was going to do it. He said that the seed of the woman, so the woman is Israel, the woman is Mary. The seed from Mary would pay the price in full. The seed is the Messiah. It's the new seed. So everybody lives under the seed of Adam, the fallen sinful man. So you have to walk out from under that. The weight of sin is on you until you walk out from under Adam and you walk in under the Messiah. You become born again under the Messiah, the new seed of humanity, the eternal seed of humanity, the Messiah. Become one with the Messiah under his headship, under his leadership. He'll be your king. All you have to do is walk out. You take your allegiance from Adam and from yourself. Deny that. Take up your cross and follow him, he said. Jesus said, take up your cross and follow me. Deny yourself. And that is basically walk out from under Adam, follow me. Come to the foot of the cross. He paid for your sins. Potentially. Everybody's sin is paid for potentially in that cross. It doesn't matter. It's not a case of religion. It's not a case of building yourself up. It's not a case of, finding karma. It's not a case of becoming the better you. It's not a case of even that cultural Christianity thing. You look at people like Jordan Peterson, and people who suggest that even the New Age, like Christ is one way. When they say Christ, it's like this the Christ consciousness is what they would say. So even Peterson and his cultural Christianity thing, that's like you embody the suffering servant. You become that suffering servant, and you lift yourself up out of the morass of your own life, and you give yourself meaning. And that's not it. That's not the meaning of why Jesus came. That's not the meaning of the cross. That's not the meaning of the Messiah. That's not why he was predicted. That's not why the whole volume of the scroll was written about him. There is a sin problem. It needs to be paid for. You cannot have fellowship with God, your creator, until you deal with the sin problem. Just so happened that God provided the way. As Abraham said, God will provide himself a lamb. You can also read that as God will provide himself as a lamb. The Messiah was the lamb. That was the whole point to the Passover ritual. Jesus said, I am the way. Moses said, paint the blood on the doorposts of your home. And the doorpost in Hebrew is the dalet. The dalet, the fourth letter of the Hebrew alphabet. That's the doorpost. That's the paint the blood of the Messiah on the doorpost. Get behind the door of the Messiah. Jesus said, I am the way. The dalet is also the way. The dalet is the door. Look up the meaning of the Hebrew letter dalet. The way of life. The door. It's actually the doorposts of your home when you look at it. So Jesus said, I am the way, and I am the truth, I am the life. No one goes to the Father except through me. And you have to go through the Messiah if you want to go to eternal life. And he offers it to you. All you have to do is accept it. And that is it. That's admit you're a sinner, believe in Jesus, came to the earth, died for you, rose from the grave, leaving sin in the grave. Confess him as the Lord of your life. And you're saved, born again, out from under Adam, under the Messiah. Okay, that's that. Onwards, upwards. See you tonight for tonight's update, and I'll see you next week on YouTube land.